Good morning, gang. Happy Sunday morning. All right, it's Sunday, but I'm going to talk about something that you probably wouldn't think about talk on Sunday. But it's an idea, something that maybe you want to add to your preps. And I'm going to give you multiple reasons why. I bought something this week that has multiple uses in preparation. Okay, I bought a still, not an expensive one. It's about $100. Amazon, there's a Vivor pot still. Okay. I've never done anything like this in my life. And I figured, okay, this is something that has multiple uses for a prepper. Now, of course, the first thing you're going to think about when you hear still is, oh, he's going to make moonshine. Okay, it's a possibility. Moonshine be one hell of a prep in a SHTF situation if all of a sudden you are somebody who has something like that to barter with. Okay, and I mean, there's countless videos on YouTube. I watched one yesterday of about a guy who made whiskey using Frosted Flakes and Raisin Bran to make his mash, right? And actually it came out pretty good, according to him. Just saying. Okay. But having something like that, and my theory here for me at least, like I said, it cost me $100. Okay. So I can play around with it and I can practice with it, see what I get. But there's multiple uses I can get out of this, not just making moonshine. That's what everybody would think the first thing that you talk about with making a still is. All right. But let's go to a very basic what you're doing in distilling. I can distill water. A lot of you guys talk about water purification, things like that. Oh, boil your water. Okay. Do you understand what you're trying to do when you boil water? Yeah, you're trying to kill any harmful bacteria, whatever. But if you distill it, okay, now you are, basic premise of it, you're going to boil the water, get the steam. The steam is going to come through, recondensate, and now you have distilled water. Okay. So now you have potable water, something that you can drink safely. The other side is, if you just boil the water, you've still got all the solids in the pot. All right. So if you distill it, the solids are going to stay in your pot. The steam recondensates, comes back down, and now you have fresh water. There's one good use for it outside of making moonshine. The other part is that you're going to create different kinds of alcohol. Methanol, which of course we don't want to be doing anything with. That's what'll make you go blind, okay? Ethanol, there's going to be different kinds of alcohol in your heads, your hearts, and your tails, okay, as you're going through. But what can we do with something like that? Well, you can make a fuel out of it, okay? Ethanol, we've all heard that. Now, it would take some work, no question, but you could convert, say, a chainsaw or something like that to using ethanol. It's not exactly what you're going to be a great idea because the ethanol will dry out the rubbers and the plastics and things like that. You do have to make carburetor adjustments and filters and everything like that. So there are differences there, but it's a possibility. And if you know somebody who's a mechanic or you are a mechanic, you could have the ability to create your own fuel to run, I mean, even a car, if you made enough, okay? I mean, if you've got an E85 vehicle, for example, that's 85% ethanol. If you've got a little bit of gasoline and you got an E85 car, hey, this is a way to stretch your gas, right? You have 25 gallons of gas. Well, if it's only 15% gasoline and the other 85% of the ethanol you can make yourself, gee, you can stretch that fuel out quite a bit, right? Just a thought. Even then, if you don't want to do something like that, it's great for fire starter, okay? I mean, we all talk about dryer lint in toilet paper tubes, right? It's a great fire starter with Vaseline. It's a great way to make fire starter. The only thing is in an SHTF event, chances are you're not going to have any dryer lint, okay? Your dryer's not going to be working. And even if you've got a generator, I don't think that's going to be the highest priority for your use of electricity is to dry your clothes when you could just hang them on a line and let them dry in the sun anyway, right? Okay, so you're not going to be doing it that way. But there's a combustible material that would help you get wet wood started, for example, because you're probably not going to have access to a whole lot of cardboard or a whole lot of newspaper or anything of the sort if it's rained for a week and you need a fire, okay? So looking at something that way. You could also save the heads, for example, the higher proof methanol and ethanol there, to use as ice melt. I've talked to you guys about that before. It's going to be cold here this week. We got 2 winter storms coming through. We've got a freeze line that goes down as far south. The line literally goes from like Houston through New Orleans to Atlanta. We're going to have ice on the ground that far south. Okay? Maybe you've got rock salt or something. Right. How long is that going to last? Now you've got a way to unfreeze stuff. I told you, like I said before, about taking isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and putting it on your windshield of your car, and poof, the frost or whatever, the ice will melt very quickly. You can get it off, scraping the car, you don't get those lines. Same premise, all right? Now you could put it on, especially those of you guys are up north, something locks that froze. There's a great idea. You could spray some alcohol on there and unfreeze the lock so you can open it up. Car doors, that works great. Front doors, anywhere that you have something, put it on the sidewalk. I think in an SHTF event, you're not going to really care if you killed the grass around the sidewalk, okay, with something like that. You could use it as weed killer in areas that you need to get rid of it, not in your gardens, okay, but if you need to clear a path or something that you're going to be walking on constantly or moving material, to beat down the path and not have it grow back over and over and over again, because it's not like you're going to be mowing, that would be a use there. It's just something that I was looking around at last week, and I was like, you know what? For $100, I could get multiple uses out of this. And I'm betting you guys probably have other ideas that you think you could do too. I mean, everybody thinks of, gee, I got a still, and the first thing I'm going to do is make moonshine. That's one option. But as a prepper, being able to create the materials that you need is very beneficial. And if you can create a fuel of some sort with it, that could be really huge. Like I said, to start a fire, or to fuel some small engine or a large engine if you got it. Again, don't do this and put it in your car. You'll ruin the engine unless you have the appropriate changes made to be able to run on alcohol. But it can be done. It's something worth learning, and maybe I'll have a little bit of fun with it in the meantime. After all, I am growing that Jimmy Red corn this year, and that was one of the reasons for it. Cornmeal, but I could also make some moonshine that I could feasibly use for barter. Thinking ahead of the game, guys. Have a good one. Pinball out.